additional strategies. Christina Carter with Intuit Parenting and Wellness joins us now with some tips to help while also fostering cooperation, because ultimately that's the point, right, Christina? We're trying to get our kids to work with us, not just follow our every demand.
Yes, exactly. So a lot of times we want to jump in and fix and correct and lecture, and we're always trying to come up with consequences in the moment, and that puts a lot of pressure on parents.
Yes.
So we can rely on two types of consequences, and that is natural consequences and logical consequences. So natural consequences is exactly what it sounds like. So it's simply an event that follows another event naturally. So if you don't study for a test, you might get a bad grade. Or if you're treating your friends poorly, you might not have them want to hang out with you as much. So that's just logical consequences.
Life teaching you how to do things differently.
Yeah, exactly. And so as much as we want to protect our kids from that, sometimes that's the best teacher. And then the other type of consequence is logical consequences. Now this is parent implemented, but it's something that makes sense in the moment and is directly related to the event.
I think we all remember being teenagers and saying, that doesn't make sense, Mom, Dad, you know, you can't punish me from that over this. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we're always trying to say like, okay, if you stay out late, then I'm gonna take your phone away. Or if you hit your brother, then no TV. And it's like, it's keeping us on our toes. We're trying to constantly figure that out.
Yes, and as a parent, I can relate, because you want to do something that is going to make them not do whatever they're doing.
And learn, exactly.
And so you're trying to think of something that's really going to get at them. But if you want to foster cooperation, then what you really want to do is do something logical that they understand why it's the consequence of their action.
Exactly. So an example would be if your child refuses to wear their helmet to ride their bike, we can withhold the access to the bike. Or if your child continues to stay out late past curfew, you can withhold access to their car. It's directly related to the event. And it makes sense to them.
Yes, and you know, you're not going to let your child find out naturally that if you don't wear a bike helmet, you're going to hurt your head. But if you have a logical consequence, like, I'm not going to let you ride the bike if you don't do that, that really makes a lot of sense. Sometimes I feel like it is harder. Things come up in the moment as a parent, and you have to think on your toes. You mentioned a superpower for fostering cooperation. I could use a superpower at home. Tell me, please.
So we always skip this step as parents. We want to jump in and we want to fix, we want to evaluate, interrogate, but what we're missing is validate. We skip this step, and kids need to feel seen, heard, and understood emotionally first and foremost, before we can then jump into, let's figure this out. So they need to feel like we are on their team. When they feel that, then they open up to being receptive and us working together with them, but they have to have that validation first and foremost, and then they're ready to cooperate.
I've heard, you know, suggestions to get curious. Like, before you get mad about whatever they're doing, get curious. I see that you're upset. Why? What's going on? And try to validate them before you go into the disciplinary.
Yes, it's one and the same. That curiosity goes hand in hand with that validation. Tell me more about this. You're really seeing them and witnessing them first, and then you can jump into problem solving.
Okay, and now tell me, you have the #1 most important thing for improving your relationship with your child, because I think, you know, you may get in a moment with your kid where you're trying to discipline them, you're trying to correct a problem, and you forget that the goal of all of this is just a beautiful life and a beautiful relationship with your kids.
Exactly, yes. So the #1 most important thing that you can value in order to have a great relationship with your child is to value the quality of your relationship with your child. Now you might be thinking, well, of course I value, you know, the integrity, the quality of my relationship with my kid, but is it the utmost important thing, even more than compliance?
Yes.
We have to really think about that. So connection has to be the ultimate goal, and everything else falls into place.
When you're working as a team, I tell my kids that all the time, we're a team. You gotta be on my team so we can get out the door on time.
It makes all the difference.
Thank you so much, Christina. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great advice.